One of the things that we intend to do is, again, to ask people to step up and get involved in one of the workforce action teams and one of the infrastructure, or find some other way to stay involved. Today we have a couple of people here who we're calling first champions. People who have already committed themselves to saying, okay, I'll do it. Because it's easy to say, yeah, it's a great idea. But giving your time is something else. And I understand because we're all busy. We all do other things. And this is only going to work if people are willing to commit themselves. One of the first people to enthusiastically support this idea was Mark Cafferty. Mark Cafferty is president of the San Diego Workforce Partnership, and actually is one of the original sponsors. And as we've gone through this process, he's been very interested and very supportive from day one. And he has a few words he would like to say.
Which way I should face, I'm guessing. I mean, first thing that we should really do is thank all three of you seated up here. Part of what has been wonderful about this project for us at the San Diego Workforce Partnership is the relationship that's been built with both. Is the relationship that's been built with both the Imperial Valley EDC as well as our own San Diego Regional EDC. My name is Mark Cafferty, as Christina said, and this is a project that purely from a workforce development perspective, arguably couldn't be more important than almost anything else that we're working on for all the reasons that were just shared in describing us as one region. But I really want to point out a moment when Christina got me out to Imperial for one of the first times, and I got lost, horribly lost, on my way out here, and was told to not complain about the heat, but it was hot when we got out here that day. And Tim had organized a remarkable tour through places I had never seen before, or even when I had been to Imperial, I had seen sort of at a distance as we were driving through Imperial. But what we went around and we started to see were all of these amazing pockets of opportunity that I don't see from a highway as I'm just driving through this area, or I may not necessarily see when I'm back in San Diego. But as we started to tour these different facilities and see scientific and technological innovation that was happening here, you start to realize all of the opportunity that's on the horizon. You start to think back to San Diego being a place where there's a biotechnology industry at one point in time, where a lot of people looked up at a certain mesa in San Diego and didn't really know what folks were doing up there, but knew that an industry was being built. And so as we all start to talk about green jobs and clean tech industries and the growth of that, and our president, as has been stated earlier, doesn't even talk about infrastructure jobs without having green jobs in the very next sentence. So as we start to see things coming by way of economic stimulus, we know roads are going to get built, and we know there's going to be a focus on these jobs that are going to prepare and train people for the future. And just as Senator Ducheney has said, we have one region, and we have lots of amazing educational opportunities in that one region. And with technology and distance learning, the ability to be in Imperial and network and do things with universities in San Diego or across the border in Mexico is remarkable. And we have an opportunity in front of us that if this technology and this innovation that I was able to see by touring through these plants and facilities in Imperial comes to fruition, just like the biotechnology industry when it had its first breakthroughs, jobs will follow, and they'll follow fast. And they'll keep coming, and the industry will grow. And if we think of ourselves as one region versus being in San Diego and thinking of Imperial as a distance, or thinking of the regions in Mexico that are just across the border as across the border, then we miss a huge opportunity, and we are not as strong as separate individuals as we are as one region. So my hope is that we'll be able to continue to rely on each other's strengths, learn a lot from one another, and as I've had an opportunity to see the opportunity that exists here in Imperial, we welcome everybody to come our way so that we can show you the opportunity that exists in San Diego and really begin to break down some of the barriers that will make us one region. So thank you all. It's been a remarkable project for us to be part of. We'll continue to put resources and time into it, and we know we'll see great results. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. The next first champion, as we're so calling them, is one of the people that I've actually pursued vigilantly to become involved in this process, as has Mark. Phil Blair is executive director of Manpower, but he's also the outgoing chair of the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce. But what he brings to this process and why I have so hotly pursued him to become involved was because of his understanding of the training, of job training, the idea of how do you get people ready to take these great jobs that we're talking about. And so he has enthusiastically committed himself to become a champion, and he's going to explain why.
Thank you.
First of all, let me warn all of you, if Christina gets on your case, just cave, give in, come to El Centro, come to Raleigh, go to meetings, go to breakfast, because you're going to do it anyway, so you might as well just give in early before. She'll get to you. But I'm really here because of two hats that I wear, and one is Christina. It was funny because I was born in Great Bend, Kansas, by the way, so when she said the Kansas Chamber of Commerce, I sort of thought, oh, that's come a long way. Between the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce, and we're really thinking regional at our Chamber of Commerce. And the other thing is what I do for a living, and I own franchises of Manpower Temporary Service. And what we do is, depending on the economy, we hire between 12 and 15,000 people every year. And what we do with these people is we match them with jobs. And if we don't have the right people at the right time for those jobs, then we train them to have the skills that they need to match those jobs. And that's what makes our customers happy, and that's what makes me happy. Because I send an invoice at the end of every week for those trained employees to work. But what it has caused us to do at Manpower is to really invest in training. Because as an employer, you got the most fabulous product on the face of the earth, but if you can't find energized, educated, motivated employees to build your product, whatever it is, then it's not going to happen and you're going to fail. Well, what I've learned about Imperial County is the wonderful potential that is going on here. And it's not going to happen tomorrow, it's not going to happen in a few months, but within a year or 2 years, I think this is going to be a very dynamic area for a lot of the reasons that we've been talking about. And so my interest comes from the training part of it. Christina put me in touch with an employer who's interested in building a large facility here that's in tech. And the first question they wanted to talk about was the workforce. And it's very hard when you're in a high-tech industry to look at an agrarian economy and wonder how you're going to transition those people into your workforce. And one of the major commitments of any company when it moves to a new area is obviously the roads and the building and all that. But it's really your investment in the workforce, and that will make the difference between success or not. And either you have that workforce there and ready, or you need to know that it will be ready for you when you're ready to hire them. And as I always tell people, as an employer, I don't expect someone to walk in my door if they're going to work for the Manpower staff, knowing my policy, knowing the rules, knowing the procedures of Manpower. But I do expect them to be educated, highly energetic, highly motivated, and anxious to learn. And they've got to be able to show me and my staff that they have those soft skills, those touchy feelings, and when I speak outside of the whole California look, now we're all mostly Californians that are Baja or California. That is very, very important because it's the first thing we see. Number two, I want to know that it's a dependable workforce. So before I spend thousands of dollars of my money as an employer training people to do my specific job, I need to know, number one, they're dependable, they're going to show up, they have the right attitude, and then I'm happy to spend that money. So there's two pieces here. One is work readiness training. And we need to start doing that now because there are several steps to success in that area. People